next dish we're going to make is a very traditional type of pasta using Orecchietti. Has anyone used Orecchietti before? Yeah, it's actually quite easy to make as well. Orecchietti means little ear, basically. And this is made, it's good for gluten-free because it's made only of semolina flour and water. Most of them, but you want to check that out as well and just double check. So this is a very hard pasta and you can make it from scratch quite easily if you wish. I make it at home sometimes with a little bit of normal flour, semolina flour, and then water. I just knead that dough. It's very, very strong, and then I roll them into tiny little balls after and just push it over my thumb. And I'll pass these around so you guys can have a little bit of a look. Why don't you? You know, this is... Here you go. Where have you gone? Here you go, let's be a bit generous there. Okay, so I'm going to use this same water. It's nice and salted. This will take about 12 minutes into there. And we just want to give that a little bit of a stir. It's very important with pasta that you've got the water continuously boiling as well, especially with fresh pasta. I just want to talk a little bit about cooking pasta as well. Who puts olive oil in their pasta water? Why do you do that? Yeah, but I think a lot of people are not sure exactly why, and they just automatically put salt in there. We do salt in there obviously for flavour. Olive oil is good especially for things like if you're cooking large amounts of spaghetti and stuff like that, but it also brings a little bit of flavour to the pasta too. So now what we're going to make is a lovely sauce using actually broccoli, anchovy, chilli and garlic. So where's that pan I had kicking around? Here we go. So what I might do first is just get, this is Australian garlic. It's not actually easy to come by. We seem to have Chinese and Mexican garlic all over the place. And these are lovely big cloves. Did anyone see a few years ago, I actually, I saw them in the markets in Australia also where they started genetically modifying the garlic so it was one single big clove. Did you guys see that? Not very nice. So, I'll just peel this off, my little knife. And we eat this dish at home probably once a week as well because it's very, very simple. I've always got olive oil in my fridge. I've always got, sorry, my pantry. I've always got garlic. I've always got good salt. And if I don't have Orecchietti, I can make it pretty quickly too. So, basically what we can do here, just chop this. Now, it's going to take a little bit of salt and pop it on top of that garlic. Basically, I put a little bit of salt on there for a couple of reasons. We don't use garlic crushers in my house or kitchen whatsoever. I think that when you use garlic crushers, you get all the meat out of the garlic and all the flavours left in the actual crusher itself. You're much, much, much better actually doing it on a board. What happens is salt picks up moisture. We put salt on here to pick up all those garlic flavours as well. What it also does is hold all the garlic together as well while you're chopping it there. So we can, I want to get this quite fine. We don't need to go absolutely ridiculously fine. So that Orecchietti, I'm doing exactly the same way I would at home. Normally at home, if I get home, it's at 7 o'clock if I'm not working. I put some water in the kettle, straight onto the stove as soon as it's boiled. Put the Orecchietti in because it is about a 12-minute cook. And then I start doing all the preparation. But with most pastas I make, I almost do it like that. I get the water going, pasta cooking, and then I make the sauce while it's cooking. So theoretically, if it's an 11-12 minute cook, you should be able to make the sauce in 12 minutes. It's not a big ask, is it? Okay, so I'm going to use actually an olive oil which I bought from my kitchen today. It's from Boundary Bend in Victoria. It's an extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. Does anyone want me to talk a bit about olive oil? Yes? I love olive oil. We actually had a Japanese magazine come in yesterday, and they were doing a special on olive oil, and they were asking what we use with olive oil in my kitchen. I was like, pretty much everything, and sometimes even in desserts we use olive oil as well. A few years ago I was making a chocolate mousse, and I realised that in a lot of chocolate mousse we put butter which is a fat. Olive oil is also a fat, so why couldn't we replace one with the other? So we started using olive oil in the chocolate mousse as well, which may sound a little bit disgusting to some, but if you use the right olive oil, one with a lovely grassy or fruity flavour, it brings a lot of flavour with that chocolate as well, which is great. So I'm just going to push that garlic to the side a little bit as well. So with this cold pressed olive oil, I've got a little bit into there. We don't want to fry with this. As soon as we take that above sort of around the 40-degree mark, we're going to start to lose some of those flavours which the producer has worked so hard to get into there. So we might as well use vegetable oil if we're going to start frying in there. So what I want to do is just warm it through a little bit. And then I'm going to put this garlic into there. And we just kind of want to shake that around just really to get those garlicky flavours into there. But going back to sort of frying, if I were to really start to cook that on quite a high heat now, the garlic will take on a totally different flavour altogether, and I don't want that kind of golden, almost, I don't know how to describe it, that golden burny flavour that will permeate through the whole dish after. So now that's starting to tick over a little bit, I'm going to take it off the heat and let it sit there. Okay, now with the broccoli, I'm going to take this guy in half, and then literally just run through like that and break it up with my hands. And then I'm going to lose that end bit. But what I'm going to do with this bit here is just, because the stalk's absolutely fantastic, is just run through it, because we're going to use that as well. Now I'm using normal broccoli. In Italy they use a thing called broccoli arabe, which is a variation of this. In Australia it's a little harder to get. This works fine. So I'll use a whole head for this. This can go back into there. We don't want to waste anything, so all this can go into. Okay, so this orecchietti is probably not too far away. Did you guys all have a look at this? If you don't want to use orecchietti, you could use, I recommend using a short pasta, penne, rigatoni, fusilli or something like that. But I think the orecchietti works by far the best. Okay, so one very important thing we're going to pop into this dish is anchovy. Do we have any anchovy haters in the crowd? You hate anchovy? You like anchovy? You don't? I love anchovies. They've become quite popular in the past few years as well. But one thing I was always taught was to cook with anchovy through the base of sauces. And my father, who hates anchovies, secretly loves it because he never knows I put it into dishes he eats. And a lot of the time, yeah, this keeps on just turning itself off. What I often do is just, for example, with this or like a risotto base or a ragu base or something, I might throw a couple of anchovies in the very beginning with the sofrito. The sofrito is the base of a sauce, normally consisting of onion, carrot, celery and garlic, or in a risotto case, celery and onion. And I'll put a couple of anchovies in there and cook it out. It will dissolve into a paste pretty much and just give a flavour into there. We can see all the anchovies haters are leaving right now. So now in the same pot, one pot cooking, I'm going to put this broccoli in there to blanch. But you can see I've got a little thing to divide that. The orecchietti is pretty much ready now. And we want to cook this broccoli almost to it's a little bit overcooked.